Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 161 of Chatting with Anthony. Temptation spares no man. And I say that because as humans, we all have to endure temptation. And we endure it in various forms, but it's not a unique experience. Your specific experience with the temptation might be unique, but just the fact that you're experiencing it is not. And I would remind everyone that even when God was here in human form, he had to endure temptation, and thankfully he did not give into the temptation. But he essentially showed us how we are supposed to live through doing that. Now he also understands that we're never going to get it 100% right. Or let me reword that. That we will not be able to get it 100% right, considering pretty much everyone here has already given in, so we've all lost in that regard. But he does want us to try as hard as we can to endure through the temptation. And I would also like to remind you that if God himself had to endure the suffering, then it brings more, I believe at least, it brings more comfort to the situation. You could take honor in it, in the sense of even God himself chose to endure the temptation. Could he have just rebuked Satan and not have to deal with it at all? Sure, I mean, he would have had the power to do it, but he didn't. And again, and through doing so, he give us examples of how we can endure, how we can get through the temptation, largely through just prayer. Prayer and fasting does help a lot. Because the temptations are different for everyone, the protocol to abstain, or the protocol to succeed, will probably look different. Like what works for an autistic person might not work for someone with like a neurotypical person, for example. Our brains are wired different. I believe each brain's unique. I don't know if it's like how to quantify that, if it's each individual brain is unique or if there's like templates, for example. But regardless of that, you have to understand that what works for you might not work for someone else, and therefore don't get mad at them if they're failing and they're not taking your advice. You can get frustrated with that exact scenario for different reasons, but just understand that you don't understand what it is that goes on in their head. You can't literally put yourself in their brain. I believe that a lot of abstinence just comes down to discipline, and we can train our discipline like a muscle so we can get better at it, thankfully. I believe a good way of doing that is find an area that you're already disciplined in, even if it's like just scrolling through Instagram or YouTube, whatever it might be. And figure and assess why you do it, assess how, what, even when, and then try to implement those principles into abstaining from the other things. And even if in that situation, maybe try to implement it so that you don't doom scroll, for example. And I would say that the idea of mastering the mind, I don't know how you would quantify when you actually get there, but that does take ridiculous discipline. So don't go too hard on yourself if you stumble. We're all going to stumble along the way, but we're called to try. That's the most important part, is that you make a wholehearted effort. And a wholehearted effort every day, on a daily basis, is going to look different. Like your full effort, your 100% on Tuesday might look like, if we were to compare Tuesday and Thursday, your 100% on Thursday might look like 70% of Tuesday's 100%. And that's okay. You're still called to try, but you have to understand that every day has different needs, different sources of fatigue, different levels of fatigue. And I would remind you that even what we would call the great humans, if you would even say that they have won and that they have mastered the mind, it took a long time to do that. How long do you think it took a monk or LeBron James or Lionel Messi or Derek Jeter to master the mind, quote unquote? Even a David Goggins, for example, was an extreme example. It is a challenging task no matter how you want to dice it. And thankfully, they have also given us forms of templates to use. But I understand that they were imperfect along their journey as well. And that the main difference between you and them is, most likely at least, the simple fact that they just kept trying. And for the most, it's another story, but that's probably that's the main difference between you and your dream goal, right? With the exception of like physical limitations, you can achieve. I think as humans we can achieve a lot more than we give ourselves credit for. We just need to be more resilient. But that's another story. Hopefully another episode that I'll make. So that's all I have for this episode. Thank you guys for watching. Stay safe, God bless, and I'll see you guys in the next one.